Oh, hey there, and welcome to the Ope-Eh three-way pro wrestling podcast. Sipping on a little Raised Grain Guitar City Gold on this episode 37.
I have water.
Loving it.
Coke Zero.
That's Pierce, by the way. That's Donnie. Fellas, how we feeling?
It's been a hell of a week.
Oh, yeah.
On the personal side, and the professional side, I'm glad to be doing this today to shut my brain off and talk some professional wrestling, some sports entertainment, some real graphs, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Donnie, how are you doing?
I'm doing. I'm just happy to be on here shooting the shit about professional wrestling. So.
I was about to say, to your point, Pierce, best time to talk pro wrestling is when the brain shut off. Know what I mean? Getting there.
All right.
Anywho.
What we got on tap today, boys?
It's Backlash. We got Backlash Saturday, which feels like we were just at Mania because Mania was so late this year. So it's like we're already in a Backlash. Money in the Bank, I think, is in what, 3-4 weeks? Like these.
Yeah, June 7th.
Yeah, they're adding up. They're adding up pretty quick as we get into the summer months. So we'll review that card today. We'll also talk a little bit about just other stuff that's going on in wrestling. But make sure you follow us on our social medias. That's on our X, our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok. Do we have stuff on TikTok
TikToking
yet?
now.
We are TikToking.
I'm gonna start doing those videos where it's like rank these people where it has like a pre-made overlay.
Oh yeah.
So like I figure we all could probably do one of those and boost that. And
I don't know if I trust Brandon with that.
Oh God!
I mean, hey, I posted up the podcast just today, fellas. Before we started up. Take a peek ski.
I mean, if you're not fucking saying people are getting buried.
Whoa. Please don't take into my material.
I'll save that for the main show.
Yes, thank you. We have lots of burials to discuss in a little bit. But
yes, we do.
That, Pierce, tell me what the hell happened. Oh, let me say my thing, man. Tell us what the hell happened in wrestling history at some point on May the 7th.
So we're going to jump back to 1989. Before I was born, I'm pretty sure before Brandon was born.
Shut up.
Well.
Was that I don't know. I know you're a little early.
Woo-wee.
You're a little older than me. I don't want to.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
That's just rude. I was asking a genuine question.
Yeah, and I gave you a genuine answer.
Go fuck yourself.
NWA holds Wrestle War 89 Music City Showdown in the Music City, believe it or not, Nashville.
Wow.
Ric Flair would defeat Ricky Steamboat in the main event in the finale of their legendary trilogy of that year. If you guys have never seen any of these matches, go watch them. It's insane work rate in a time when there was no work rate.
Was that also a Ric Flair retirement match, or?
No, it surprisingly wasn't at that time. He probably could have retired after that. I mean, he was on top for damn near 20 years at that point, or 15 years at that point.
Yeah.
I know we like to shit on Meltzer a bit, but
a bit?
The wrestling. Yeah, I know you like to shit on him a lot, but the Wrestling Observer has a match of the year that they do out to their voters. The top 3 spots were all Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat. This match was the second best match of the year in the Observer fans' opinions.
Okay.
And we'll jump to 2000. WCW Slamboree takes place from the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. The main event has WCW champion David Arquette defending his title in a triple threat, triple cage match. That was also like the match from Ready to Rumble, if you guys know. It was Arquette versus DDP versus Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett would win the title when Arquette would shockingly turn on DDP. And after the finish, Mike Awesome would throw Chris Kanyon, who better, from the top of the third cage through the stage, which was seen in very, very poor taste because almost a year to the day in that very same arena, Owen Hart fell.
I mean, I guess
wasn't
that's
the
one
right
way to put it,
sound.
but
That wasn't the right sound to do, but I didn't have a better one. But yeah, I mean,
oh no.
WCW classlessness. I'm not surprised.
It's more Vince
Yeah.
Russo classlessness, and we should not be surprised at him at all.
No.
Bro,
No. Not.
you throw him off the top of the cage, bro. We'll get all the ratings, bro.
Just sparking the emotions.
And a couple happy birthdays. Happy birthday to the King of Hearts, Owen Hart. Canadian
On that
royalty.
note,
One of the greatest to ever do it. I mean, he was way ahead of his time and gone too soon.
one of the biggest what if stories in professional wrestling, man, to think of what he might have become.
1 year later,
Especially, go ahead.
WWF would have had Kurt Angle. It would have had Chris Jericho, Christian, Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Work rate was right there.
Hey, one of those things is not
Absolutely.
like the other. Let's keep the Canadian content. You know, like I wonder if Brett would have stuck around too if I had Owen. You know,
That
or that was
2
before,
years.
right? That was before, right? Never mind. My
So,
my calendar's fucked.
Yeah, it probably didn't help. He may have came back earlier than he did, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And happy birthday to the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay.
Bruv.
Wow, good on you, Will.
Bruv.
Good on you, bro.
Current best in
And
the world.
Wow. That's
Pure graphs wise.
Pure flips wise, what?
You be
Pure
I'm pretty
quiet,
sure I heard that right.
no-so-wise.
Yeah.
Pure
Mr. Burial.
no-so-wise. Bruv.
All
His
right,
scraps are all right.
that's all I had. Do we want to go into Backlash, or do we want to talk about the other stuff?
We'll talk a little bit about the releases that came this past week. Unfortunately, seems to be an annual tradition. WWE had a number of releases after WrestleMania. And this time, as I pull up the list here,
A lot of surprising names on it.
yeah, so starting from the top, let's see here. We have Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Katana Chance and Caden Carter, Cora Jade, Jakara Jackson and Oro Mensah, Javier Bernal, Riley Osborne, Gigi Dolan, Shotzi was not renewed, so she's in there as well. Gallus, all three Gallus boys, Danny Palmer, Eddie Thorpe. Yeah, that's the list for this batch.
I mean, I really don't understand the Cora Jade one. I figure she probably could have been called up post Mania.
Yeah,
You thought so?
You know, one thing that I thought was pretty damning on that front, and I'm not going to be very clear, I'm not advocating for her release by any stretch. I was always a fan of hers, but the fact that she didn't get a stand and deliver match with Roxanne, and the fact that they never tied up the loose end from the pre-show match where Roxanne just left her, and then that was it.
Yeah.
There was nothing after that. So I think that was, it felt like a little bit, and now looking back in hindsight, it's a little bit of writing on the wall on her front to like kind of just have that loose end not tied up, and then she gets shown the door. So.
And then they switch her over to Julia too, and not that Julia versus Cora, it's whatever, but like it was just surprising. Dakota was very surprising. Braun, I don't know if Braun was that surprising.
Braun
did just.
Braun's been busting his ass. I am a little bit surprised by Braun simply because the guy's been busting his ass despite, having partial paralysis in one of his legs. So, and he put on bangers with Jacob Fatu. He put on bangers with Bronson Reed. So he was trying his best. Obviously, his better days were behind him. I'm curious if that was more of a salary decision rather than an actual workable hand situation. But
That's kind of what it seemed like, at least from something I read before I jumped on here. They were talking about how, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of wackadoo articles that are coming out with all of the different things that have been going on with the AAA acquisition, with the releases and all that. But pertaining to Braun Strowman, they were talking something to the effect of they want to bring him back. It's just that the salary they were paying him for full time for the work he was doing and he was able to do was a little on the high end. So they're talking about like a potential part time deal for Braun where he works maybe like 3 to 4 months out of the year and they pay him for
and
that.
that's he
Which,
got released before for the same reason. Like when he got released back in 2022, I want to say. Again,
yeah, that's
it was
about right.
more of a payroll cut than it was because he was Universal Champion. He
Right.
was, had a number of years at or near the top of the card, right? So you have to
Hmm.
imagine he would be making seven digits in some capacity. So, but with
I'd have
the
to think so.
output of work he'd be able to have now at his physical condition, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation for him to be in at that point.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate too, the fact that there's likely a chance, even if he does come back, he's probably not going to ever be like, I mean, he might be in some championship matches, but he'll never be what he was, around the COVID era, slightly before.
Rumble spots,
Right.
I see like stuff like that. I don't. He might get a title match, but I wouldn't even honestly like. WWE has shown over the last few years they don't hand out like high profile title matches to people getting up there in years, right? We've talked about that with Shinsuke Nakamura before, and now kind of where Finn Balor
Right.
has been trajecting, right? Despite both of them, still being able to put out relatively good work, right?
Right.
Just
AJ
not given
Styles,
them.
another one.
Yeah, AJ got the one title chance last year, but like doesn't seem to be moving in that direction. So,
Right.
um, I'm sure there's spots still for Braun to make appearances and be a monster, but more so, I hope he just has a good standard of living through his health as a result,
Oh,
because
yeah.
guy's walking wounded for sure.
Hmm.
And then I was thinking about this. Eddie Thorpe was a bit surprising too. He beat Trick Williams, what, 2 months ago?
Right.
Yeah, Eddie Thorpe was an interesting decision. I thought he had some uniqueness to his character. Um, they tried a couple different things with him as like a spiritual warrior. They did the whole DJ thing with him. Both of those things are actually not too far away from who he actually is. He is a DJ. And one of
Yeah.
the first
Hmm.
things he talked about when he was released was the fact that he can go back to doing DJ gigs now and not needing permission. So I'm sure he's kind of
Hell
happy
yeah.
about that if that's a passion of his. But yeah, I was always impressed by him in the ring and his character work. I never thought he was a liability by any stretch. And his underground match with Dijak was probably the best underground match that's happened in in NXT for what that's worth. Um, yeah, so sometimes you don't know what happens behind the scenes too. Not that I'm speculating there, but there's a lot of elements that go into this decision making, right? In some of these cases, they may have been there for too long and haven't shown enough to the people that make those decisions, or who knows, right? So all we can do is just hope that they bounce back with their next endeavors. I know there's some people. Dakota Kai already seemingly is attracting attention. Not surprising, considering her fandom in the IWC.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, and
Shotzi.
yeah, I saw Cora Jade signed with Paragon today, so she's now with the Paragon group, the new like professional wrestling super agency when it comes to future bookings and stuff like that. There's a lot of talent with that group. So shout out Mojo Rawley and his partner, who are the heads of that. But
Oh, is that what's going on? I didn't know Mojo was heading that up.
yeah, him and another guy, I can't recall his name, but those are the two guys that started that
Ah,
talent agency, and they're pretty popular. There's some high talent name. I'm pretty sure Drew McIntyre, Becky
yep.
Lynch, Seth Rollins, Alexa Bliss. They're all
CM
through
Punk.
them. CM Punk as well. Yeah, they're all through that agency. So You have to imagine that they'll be setting her up with some good bookings, and anybody else that ends up getting signed through them as a result of this, hopefully they can land in some spots. Maybe we'll see them in AEW or other promotions. Maybe we'll see them in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling as that resurgence. They're ramping up the shows. We were talking a little bit about Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling and the fact that they kind of died off after their first round of shows, but they're in Toronto this weekend, so I'll be catching them at the formerly known Maple Leaf Gardens. And then they got another show in Windsor in another month and a bit, so you can see them there. TNA, GCW, or any other. Wrestling is healthy right now for options for these talents. So
very, very healthy.
Most definitely.
The one thing that's not healthy is the women's tag division. What the fuck are they doing there? They released the only other real team and split up Meta-4 and then released 2 of the members. I don't understand that.
And now Liv Morgan's off TV for filming.
Apparently she's only going to be gone for like 2 weeks, but it's still like, what's the point? What's the point of the division now? You don't have enough teams to have a division.
I mean, we've said that as far back as when, well, not we necessarily together, but that's been a discussion point ever since Sasha and Naomi walked out. And
yeah,
the women that are put in that position do the best that they can, given the circumstances. But it's hard to say that there's been captivating television in regards to those tag titles. Very inconsistent at best, in my opinion. So
yeah,
it's a fair assessment.
We'll see what happens. All the best to all those released, and hopefully we'll see you again in other promotions as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Most def.
But with that said, we're going to cover Backlash. So Backlash is this Saturday from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. There are currently 5 matches on the card. I'm not sure that there's going to be any more.
Maybe 1, if that, but they've been running the 5-match card for non-Big 4 PLEs.
Yeah,
so
right.
So we'll jump right into those, and we'll start with Dominic Mysterio defending the Intercontinental Championship against Penta.
I can see the allure. Yeah, I can see the allure in trying to stick Penta with the Intercontinental Championship right away because, I'm sure his masks sell like fucking hotcakes. He's clearly a very dynamic wrestler. He's got a huge following coming from outside of WWE and certainly building more within. But Dominic Mysterio, they're on the cusp of something very, very big with him. And it's no accident that they gave him his first title at WrestleMania and allowed him to celebrate with the crowd. And you get all these great shots of him running into the ring, Cena style. I think they're building something very big with Dominic. I think he's going to be in a top 5 position in the company very, very soon. And his rise to that starting this year for sure. He's still got Judgment Day around him. He's still got, that little thing with Finn going on where maybe he gets involved. I could see him being like, oh, well, you're not Intercontinental Champion without me. That was my Finn accent. I don't know if that came through or not. Testing 1, 2. Oh, well, I tried, damn it.
You buried that accent, but all good.
Oh, is that the word? Is that the word we're going with here? Is that the word of the day?
We'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. More to come.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, I'm sure. But no, I feel like this is going to be a very big year for Dominic, and I feel like him having the Intercontinental Championship is going to be a very, very big marker in that rise to where he's going to end up being. So I see Dominic retaining by hook or crook. More likely by crook, but that's Dirty Dom for you.
Pierce?
So I agree that Dom will retain, but here's my thing. It seems like they're back to the IC title being the proving ground to getting into the main event. And Dom, Braun Breaker is going to be world champ probably by next year. Gunther has been world champ. Sammy should have been world champ 5 years ago. Now he'll hopefully get his chance next year. So hopefully it keeps going that way.
He could have had his chance this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
He chose not to.
Well, you've got to listen to Carrion. I'm not gonna disagree with that. This is my thing. This could be a clean, it's not going to be a clean finish, but I also could see Penta winning by disqualification because of the Judgment Day. So I'm going to say Dom retains. I'm not going to say a definitive Dom pins and wins because he's going to retain one way or another. It's not going to be a clean victory, though.
Yeah, I agree with the old Dusty finish. I don't know if they'll run the DQ, especially if this is a match that kicks off the show. Might not win the fans over that way all that much. But Dom retains. It's too early to take the title off him. You got to give him some length here. I mean, it's funny how you say like this is the proving ground to the main event, but I would argue that Dominic has been forefront in the mid card now since he turned heel in Judgment Day in the first place. Like he's been a staple on Monday Night Raw for how long ago was that heel turn? Was that 2.5 years ago?
3 years ago almost.
Yeah, like
wow.
man.
Where does the time go?
I think our buddy Adam Wilborn kind of said it right in our episode that we did with him, where he was saying, you got the tag titles. This is it for Dom. Oh, he turned heel. This is it. Oh, now you got the Liv and Rhea thing. This is it. And then he just keeps getting better and better. And so Dom they've really got kind of like a three musketeers of young guys. Like, if I could bring up, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, they had Shinsuke, they had Hiroshi Tanahashi, and they had, who's the guy in the Ops? I can't think of his name.
Oh, Shibata? Katsuyori Shibata?
They had three young up-and-comers that were going to be world champs. Shibata never got to the world championship, unfortunately. But you got Braun Breaker, you got Jacob Fatu, and you got Dom Mysterio.
It must have been because he had his brain removed, as per Dave Meltzer, right?
Meltzer doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't want to be in New Japan.
He was trying to do a transfer with Kazuchika Okada, and then it got lost in the process somewhere.
I'm sorry, like as soon as I just found the segue there, it's like, oh my god, I remember reading that article where he thought he had a brain transplant or something. I was like, what the fuck kind of drugs is this guy on?
Dave Meltzer needs a brain transplant, man.
To Dave, if you could.
Shut up, bitch!
My god.
It was very much, like I was saying, you got Dom, you got Fatu, you got Braun Breaker. Those three guys are going to be the main event players for the next 10 years in WWE. And
Gary.
Oh, you mean the guy that got buried on Monday Night Raw by Sheamus?
I wouldn't call it a burial. I'd call it. He was trying to mount a heroic comeback.
All of his.
He was trying to mount a heroic comeback.
Nope.
That's not true. Oh, was it? Oh no, you're right.
As someone who gets to see it through the commercial breaks, the only time he had any kind of offense was during the commercial breaks. He didn't deserve any offense when it was back on actual TV. So if that tells you where he's positioned on the card, aka actually buried, unlike Gunther.
Jobber to the stars.
Yeah,
that's his seal.
They couldn't even give the fucking argument between him and Grayson Waller. Cole even called it out on commentary, but they're like, nope, we got to pen all the way back to the Judgment Day in the back.
It's only been a year. It's only been a year. Like when did they lose those tag titles? Because it would have been around then, and I think I want to say, yeah, it may have been around Money in the Bank. So yeah, they've been at this for almost a full year. But I don't want to deviate too much. This is not the Austin Theory podcast, but
not yet.
But Brandon would like it to be.
Not ever.
Not yet.
Brandon.
Not ever.
I got the title for that episode in the works too. I'm not going to share it with you today though. But
I was right. You were wrong. Theory's the champ.
Nah. I'm sure that'll fit in somewhere in the narrative, but
never going to happen.
All right.
Okay, so we all agree that Dominic Mysterio is retaining. Moving on. Fatal 4-way match for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu defends against LA Knight. Oh my god.
Damian Priest.
You could have said yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre.
Ope-Eh. I got that one. I said Ope-Eh.
Yeah, Ope-Eh. Jacob Fatu retains.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who do
Pinning.
you pin?
I think he pins LA Knight.
Again?
I think so.
I think he pins Damian. I don't think Drew gets pinned. I
don't
think Drew probably gets screwed out of the title. And so he can add that to his drop-kicked list of times he's been screwed. I think this probably opens the show. I think this is going to be a good hot start to the show. Let these guys go for 10, 15, just beat the fuck out of each other. Fatu retains and goes on to whoever's next.
Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, I'd say
I
so.
think that's SummerSlam.
So long from me.
Mm,
I don't think it's going to be for the U.S. title at SummerSlam. I think he's going to lose it beforehand because of Solo.
Okay.
And I think
that's
LA
interesting.
probably goes on to win Money in the Bank, but we'll get there when we get
That's
there.
a different show. There's a lot of candidates for Money in the Bank on both sides, but that's a different
There
show
are.
entirely.
Really, really nice.
Yeah. Next up, in a match that the entire IWC has been asking for, recently buried Ring General Gunther versus Pat McAfee.
Buried.
This match is
I
going to
mean-
end in a burial, and there is one guy who's going to get buried, and it's not going to be Gunther.
It's not Def Ring General.
I would
Pat
certainly hope
is
not.
going to get killed.
If there's any credence to the rumors and innuendo, if I may quote Conrad Thompson, I almost called him fucking Conrad Thompson, the rumors and innuendo that a certain Oldberg might be involving himself in this to light a match under Gunter for potentially SummerSlam.
Yeah, that he is due a retirement match this year, right? So,
I mean, that of course is the rumor. I'm not trying to add any legitimacy to it. I have no idea what
Goldberg
to believe
used to
with
play
pro
in the
wrestling
NFL,
tabloids
right?
these days.
Goldberg used to play in the NFL for a little bit, or
Yeah,
at least,
He's another football guy.
yeah. So
The football guy like Pat McAfee.
one guy for the brand helping out the other doesn't, sound that far fetched.
I mean,
And then it gets Goldberg on his podcast too. So,
they've done a very good job building this matchup. Like this could
True.
have been, and they turned it into chicken salad real quick. And they had a really good segment on Raw this week. I don't think Raw this week was all that great, minus the main event and that segment. And they built it good. And I like Pat saying like you dropped the ball and you got to realize like I could fucking beat you at this point, and it's lighting a fire under Gunther. And I don't see this match going longer than 5 minutes. I think Pat gets one hope spot with a punt, and Gunther's going to kick out at one and then choke the life out of Pat.
Yeah, shout out Pat for his promo work these last couple weeks. It's been very good. Yeah, I can have my opinions on Pat on commentary, but he does have a very good wrestling mind for the promo work that he does. He knows how to get himself over. He knows how to get an opponent over. He's very good at that. So shout out Pat for his work on the mic the last 2 weeks in building this feud.
Yeah, it's one thing to speak in front of a camera, right, and have people in surroundings that are very familiar to you, but it's another to stand out in front of thousands of people in a ring with another person and try to like speak and promo to them in front of thousands of people who are all your critics. And Pat is, just got relatively fresh to the whole business, right? But behind commentary desk, he can say whatever, it's comfortable, but he gets in a ring and promos with Gunter, and I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised. I agree with you guys. I think they did a good job in the last show building this match, and it does give it some intrigue. Doesn't change anything about the result that I project, mind you, but, it's good on Pat. It's great on Pat.
Yeah, and
Oh.
I mean, if Pat's still like he's got a newborn that probably could use a bit more of his attention, and then he's got the football season coming up in a couple months that usually takes him away. So
Right.
probably a good way for him to spend some time with his family before he gets back to the full grind that he has with college game day and all that. So
Mhm.
I think people forget that Pat is an insanely good promo, and then he's never been bad in the ring too. Like he's
No, his matches are fine.
surprisingly good in the ring,
Yeah,
and
he's good in War
so
Games.
if they do let this go a bit longer than 5, I'm sure we'll be in for a good match. It's just I don't see it going longer than 5.
It doesn't do Gunther any favors if this match goes over 10 minutes.
No, it shouldn't go over 10. 10 is really the cap.
You could see a post-match angle where he beats him down more to maybe give it a little bit more time to it, potentially having Goldberg make the save or somebody else making the save. But despite Gunther not being buried at WrestleMania, he is still in a bit of that sensitive space right now where you can't make him look too weak because that will push him down the card further and further if you do that. So yeah, I expect a pretty clear win by Gunther and maybe some post-match story beyond that.
Right. And you can't say, and I'm gonna keep saying it, he wasn't buried at Mania, and this is a big reason why. Pat is probably the 4th most popular person in the WWE when it comes to outside of WWE reach. You got Dwayne, you got Cena, you got Logan Paul, and you got Pat. So this is gonna bring a lot of eyes to the product because Pat's wrestling. So and putting Gunther in that spot with him is really good for Gunther because he's never been really the outside of wrestling guy, but this is going to show people what Gunther's about, and I think it's going to be very
Yeah,
good.
there's going to be some. Pat's going to take some chops, and it's going to be clipped, and we're going to see it. We're going to see Pat's fucking red ass chest after Gunther beats the shit out of him. It'll make for some good social media.
That's fair.
Next up, we've got for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria defends against the man, Becky Lynch.
A little bit late to be putting this on pay-per-view for the first time. IC title's been around since January, and first time it's going on pay-per-view for a defense.
Well, there's only been 2 pay-per-views, in fairness.
Probably could have put it on Mania.
Yeah, instead they did the weird tag match.
Title. But again, this started weird, and they've done a good job building it. I think Lyra's really stepped up her game promo-wise. And Becky is Becky on the mic. She's can't really be touched there.
Take out the garbage. How many times did she say garbage in that promo this week?
A lot.
There's a lot.
Kind of like 7.
Did you
And
see that,
recycling.
Did you see that clip in the whatever they call the Raw after show? Where she took that little jab at where she took that jab at
Monet. Yeah.
Yeah. I popped at that. I'm a simple
funny.
man. I'm a simple man. I couldn't help but pop to that. I was like, haha, I get it.
Man that likes the man.
Yeah. But
the man wins. Give a good chunk of prestige to that title. They could push it and wait till Money in the Bank to give her the title, but I think she wins here. Lyra's been a very good first champ, but I think you add the prestige and make Becky the first true Triple Crown champion for the women with, a heavyweight title, a mid card, and then the tag titles.
Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say Becky goes and gets it. I don't think. I think, like you said, Lyra was not a bad first champ. I'm with JPJ on this though, because he made a critique about Lyra particularly in that her promo work is a bit better, and it's good that she gets to kind of sharpen herself against Becky. But how much reason do we really have to, I guess, care about her character, about her matches? She's got the whole, like she mentioned in an initial promo about being like this avatar of Morrigan, like the Celtic goddess of war, right? Represented by ravens and stuff. So that explains the wings. But you show a new fan Lyra Valkyria and you try and get people to understand her and care about her motives, her character. There's not really a hell of a lot to go off of, I don't think. So, I mean, maybe a loss with the Intercontinental Championship on the line, with something prestigious on the line, could do her some good in that regard. But I mean, as of right now, I feel like she's been a good Intercontinental Champion, not necessarily a great one. She's got greatness in store, I think, in general, for sure. I think she's got more than just Intercontinental Championship in her future, but she just needs something. And I think this feud with Becky and ultimately losing the championship, which she should, will give her a bit of boost in that regard.
I do not like the idea of Becky Lynch winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship at all. And I'm going to tell you why.
No?
The whole
All right.
concept of this title was to elevate some of the women that weren't given opportunities to be at the top of the card. So why 3 months into having this title or 4 months into having this title are we giving it to the single, arguably, biggest star in women's wrestling? That's the
Well,
entire antithesis of this title in the first place. It wasn't to pad stats for first ballot Hall of Famers. That's not why this title exists, and nor should it be why this title exists. This title exists
sure.
to give airtime to women that rightfully deserve it, right? To give airtime to people like Zoe Stark, to give airtime to people like shoot,
Okay.
I mean Dakota Kai before she got let go. Like give reasons for Natalia to like Natalia is someone that like logically would make sense here, or Maxine Dupree, or there's others here, Kairi Sane, or when she gets healthy, right? Like to give it to somebody who does not need it in the least. Like why? I don't.
Well, can I
don't.
ask you?
I'm getting it. Go
Can I
ahead,
ask you something, Don?
Yeah, sure.
What'd you think? What'd you think about John Cena's last U.S. title run, where he had the open challenge and everything, arguably on top of the world shortly before his 16th
I
WWE
think it's
Championship
okay.
win? You think so? I don't know.
I don't think
Well,
it
if you
was
talk about people who
necessary.
are effectively on top of the card, who are getting titles that are meant to elevate people who are down here, I feel like they're
I don't think it was
roughly
necessary
equivocal.
though. I don't think it was necessary though. Was it fun? Yeah, sure. Do I see heel Becky Lynch giving us the same kind of run? Absolutely not.
No, she's not defending that title unless it's on pay per view.
Yeah.
But probably against Bailey too, let's be honest. So you
Is
talk
that a
about
match
people
that
who
we
don't
need for a
need
mid
it.
card title? Do we need to see Bailey versus Becky Lynch for a mid card title? Why?
No. It'll add. It's going to be a prestige champion. You have that every now and then with Cena or when Bryan won the IC title in 2015, even though that didn't work out. But it's like it's a good. It's good to add a name to the title legacy. You know what I mean? And I think you are right. She does not need it, but it's going to help the title be bigger than what it is currently.
It just seems like they're slapping on titles on her for stat padding, similar to what they did with Charlotte Flair, that a lot of people hated on. Right? Like
I'd
she
say,
won the tag
Mhm.
titles at WrestleMania for 24 hours. Why?
I
Now
mean, she
you're
won the NXT title for stat padding too. So
right. And now you're going to give her like why is she getting 3 different titles in less than a year for what seems nothing more than legacy building? Right? Tiffany
well,
Stratton didn't deserve to lose that title to Becky Lynch when she did. Right? Tiffany's
she
obviously
probably
clearly
didn't
bounced
need
back.
to win the world title last year too. They probably could have just put the title straight to Liv Morgan. Um,
There's that too. I
I
totally forgot about that. That's right. When
I totally understand where you're coming from. Um, if Lyra wins, I'm going to be completely fine with it because they could. I mean, 2 weeks is not a long time for storyline just to quickly hit that climax. You know what I mean? With Becky winning the title, they could push it to Money in the Bank. I don't
yeah,
think Bailey's coming back and
Bailey
costing
could
her.
still railroad it, I think, and allow Lyra to
Yeah,
retain.
absolutely. I don't think Bailey's going to be back just yet. I think she probably comes back post Money in the Bank, or maybe she comes back at Money in the Bank. But it's very much this could be a toss up, but I think it leans more Lynch than Valkyria.
I don't think it should, but
I
if
don't
that's what we
disagree.
get, if we get more gold slapped on Becky Lynch for Again, I would like to know the reason. I don't believe in legitimizing the title so early. Like, just give them airtime and proper stories, and that legitimizes the title on its own. Don't
Right.
shove it into
Brandon,
somebody who doesn't need it.
with the, why should we care about Lyra? They did not really give her that much promo time while she was champ. She just came out and defended the title every now and then.
Yeah.
They could have had promo time and had it on the international broadcast instead of just the non-US broadcasts, and showed her as why we should care about her. I mean, I really like Lyra. I think she's going to be world champ very soon. But it's very much going to help the title lineage. I do agree it might be a bit early, but we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's the bulk of it, right?
Next is what it will definitely be the main event for the undisputed WWE Championship. One title, by the way. Again, let's make sure we emphasize that. One title.
Singular. One. Seven.
John Cena defends his 17th title win against Randy Orton.
It's weird to be
Which he
excited
will.
for an Orton-Cena match.
This match is not going to be good. I'm not.
Donnie, quick to piss on it. Yeah.
It's not going to be like we know. Like we saw at Mania what direction they're going with John Cena as champion. It's not going to be a pure graps kind of match. We'll see the typical spots. We'll see, both will get their shit into some capacity. It's not going to be an overly long match again, like
10, 15 minutes at most. I think this could harken back to Unforgiven 2007, where Randy Orton DQ'd himself to retain the title. I think Cena could DQ himself to retain the title.
Maybe.
Be kind of shiesty for their last ever match, though, don't you think? I mean,
no one says
last ever.
The last ever, but
once in a lifetime, right? But
at Money in the Bank, even though they 1,000% should do CM Punk versus John Cena Money in the Bank.
Well, CM Punk has.
I mean, in true Randy Orton fashion, he'll probably lose in St. Louis. I mean, I can't remember the last time he won anything meaningful in his hometown.
Well, that's just wrestling booking 101 in WWE.
Yeah, not wrong.
As Cena retains, do we see anybody as like a next chance? Does Cody Rhodes come back? Because he's not scheduled to be on TV and this week either. But do we see Cody on Backlash in some capacity?
I kind of hope Cody just takes a break. I'm not saying I don't want to see Cody because Cody's fucking Cody, but I think he's not coming back till that SmackDown on the 16th.
Okay. Any thoughts on would there be a potential next challenger for Cena that appears? You think it would be Punk? Punk has his own baggage to tie up with Seth and Braun first. So I don't know if you're going to get that with how that side of the story is going.
I mean, I think it makes sense to do it at Money in the Bank. If they want to hold it till SummerSlam, great. But I think they're going to run Cody Cena too at SummerSlam. So we'll see what happens.
Roman Reigns has got to do something.
Yeah, I think they're going to run Seth Roman. No, I think they're going to run Seth J at SummerSlam. Roman, maybe they do Roman versus Braun.
Yeah, I could see Roman Braun being the thing for sure.
I just realized that Logan Paul and Jey Uso is not on this card. Why?
I think they're going to do that at Money in the Bank.
I was under the impression it was going to happen at Backlash.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, right? It was really odd. Like, you have Logan Paul outright challenging Jay for a world championship match weeks ago, which he accepted, right? And then you had this booking around Backlash has been weird in general, right? Like, they had this Seth Jay match that happened just this last couple days ago, and then that goes to a no finish, and then Jay's in the background through the whole thing, and then after the show is off the air, then Logan Paul cracks Jey Uso from the crowd, which you would think lead to further development towards a championship match at Backlash, but it crickets,
They're
So
building it for longer, and
It doesn't
I think
need to
that's
be
fine.
longer. Why do we
I
need a
think
6-week build for Logan Paul versus Jey Uso?
they kind of fucked themselves by having Mania so late in the year this year.
we're having
it 2 weeks-
Backlash so early. Well, I guess
Backlash-
Mania did run a
Backlash
little late.
is not early. Backlash is exactly where it normally is. Mania was super late in April.
Last year, Backlash was May 4th. So, yeah, right around the same time.
Yeah, wheelhouse. Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, I forget that Mania last year was like
Beginning
April.
of April. Yeah, it's first
Yeah,
week of April.
beginning.
Either
hmm
end last week of March or the first week or second week of April. This year they did it the third week of April, which is fine, but it causes them to kind of book themselves into a corner and then be like, okay, now we have 2 weeks to build a backlash. What are we gonna do? So I understand, yeah, they don't need to build it out 6 weeks. Maybe they just do it on a Raw upcoming and have Jay's title matches be on Raw so he can get that quote unquote main event, Jey Uso to be main event. And that's fine with me. I mean, if they want to have him open the card too, that's completely fine because that's always a good way to start the card by getting the crowd so hyped by having one of the most popular superstars open up the card that keeps the crowd hot. Yeet.
I mean, you won't see me do it, but
Yeah, but you've been on the hate J train since the Rumble.
thereabouts. Yeah, that's accurate. That's an accurate statement.
I remember you texting us, whoa, maybe Road Dogg should have won the Rumble. This is bullshit. It's like,
Road Dogg.
I mean, hey, he got the people going too. You still know the song.
Your takes on this whole thing have just been so out there.
Say it with me. Oh, you didn't know?
You blew your
You know how it
microphone
goes?
doing that.
Oh, is that what
Yeah,
I did? Yeah, I probably should get an upgrade. Hey,
He wasn't
But-
nearly as popular as Jay is.
but imagine if he was in this era where everyone's
would
just
not
like,
be
"Oh,
a
let's
world
do the
champion."
thing. Let's chant. This is awesome." To every little thing that happens in the ring, I'm just saying.
And
That's-
it's not even close to the popularity that Jey Uso has. Road Dogg is not a top 3 merch seller in the 90s. Fucking Jey Uso is a top 3 merch seller now, and he sells the houses. There's a reason they strap the rocket to him. Yeet.
Okay. Road Dogg had a lot of competition in the 90s. Let's be fair.
He would not have gotten as popular as Jay. I will die on that hill.
Okay. Well, maybe that can be saved for another podcast. We can do a little bit of analysis.
Yeah, I mean that essentially covers Backlash. So pretty quick episode for us this week. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
I saw a lot of things online. Everybody seemed to like the main event of Raw. I mean, finish aside, I thought the match was really good. These two seem to know each other very well, so whenever they do run it back, I think we're going to be in for a great match for Jay and Seth, and probably with the Seth win, becoming the first of this lineage of world heavyweight champions.
What was up with that Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman promo backstage? It felt real weird.
It gave kind of an awkward vibe.
I think it's Braun like kind of realizing this is how it's gonna go. Paul being in his ear, because I don't think Paul and Seth are gonna be together for that long. I think
you don't need
it's
to
gonna
be
be
really.
Braun. It's gonna be Braun and Paul for the long run. He's really gonna be, to put it in perspective, he's gonna be Brock 2.0, but like he's gonna be Brock that shows up every week and destroys people. And I mean, I don't know. It was fine for what it was, but I think Paul's promo to open the show was great, and then the closing of Raw was great, and then there was a lot of iffiness in between, minus the Lyra and the Pat stuff. But
Kevin Owens' tweet was very good on the subject too. asking if Seth would be getting as obnoxious of a spray tan as Paul and Braun.
He really should. That'd be quite a character. Seth Rollins. How could Seth Rollins be even more loud and obnoxious
Turn his
and
skin
flamboyant?
orange.
Also,
Perfect.
with uber heel Seth, as it seems to be, are we going to get new entrance music for him? I know we didn't see it with Cena, but it makes sense for Cena's character. But
Fans
I know
like singing
heel
their
Seth
songs,
is-
man. Fans like singing their songs.
I mean, I just
It's
prefer
true.
if we got OG Architect music for Seth again. I preferred that.
I think we'd have to get something all new for him this
You
go
would.
around.
Yeah, you're not going to get CFO coming back for that.
Mm-mm.
Which
No, we get a whole new arrangement.
maybe you get some metal music.
I mean, I'm all for it. Fucking A. I'm excited for what we got coming up next week because we're talking Battleground with our good bud Najee. We're going to be
It's in
talking.
2 weeks, man. Read a calendar.
Is that 2 weeks? Oh, damn it. I'm skipping ahead. I'm still excited for that though because they just announced for Battleground, and we'll talk about it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and glaze them there. TNA World Championship defended for the first time on PLE. That just got announced. So that's my spiel. That's an exciting point for me. I just wanted to say that before we went out. So
Glad that
I'm gonna be.
Supercard of Honor got moved so that we don't have to talk about it. So we don't
Oh
spend
yeah. Real unfortunate that was, yeah. Oh, don't worry. We'll have time for that at some point in the near
I'm
future. I'm
sure
very.
we don't. I'm sure we won't, but
I respectfully, I could not give less of a shit about what's going to happen at Supercard of Honor.
I
Okay,
don't
well, you
think
can give me
anybody
less than
does.
5 minutes. You can
No,
give me less than 5 minutes to at least give a little shouter about it.
it's on par with
I'm on now.
MLPW, so it gets a I will be watching the show and that's it. Like
Hey,
nobody
but
cares.
MLPW does have Jonathan Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr., which will be a fucking banger. Guaranteed.
I'm sure it will be a good match, but it doesn't need to be discussed for any period of time, quite frankly.
Besides next week when you give your
Yeah,
I was there.
I was
Good.
there. It was this. Great. Let's talk about Backlash. Let's talk about the last real champion, John Cena.
The John Cena, as Santino Marella would put it.
Man, I love that guy. All right.
The only 17-time world champion.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm not gonna
That's
argue
correct.
this.
He is correct.
I've already talked about this.
He is already, and he is correct. But that's all we got for today. Once again, check us out on our social medias for additional content over the week. And Pierce, you want to send us on our way?
Yeah, well, as always, check us out on socials, like Donnie just said. I think Donnie should start doing those raw recaps again. I liked the one you did.
I did the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is that like I don't necessarily always watch it live, so to have it at the time is not always intuitive. Plus, Mato's usually sleeping by then, so
Be good for the TikToks.
Yeah.
Good for the algorithm, as the kids say. Brandon, you got anything else?
I was going to say on that note, we could always figure a rotation. Doesn't hurt to have a little extra content with all the faces. You know?
Point. But
That's all I got to say about it.
I'll take us home then. As always, thanks for stopping in the Ope-Eh 3-Way. Have a beer on us. See you next time. Have a good night.